Being back in one of these things after so many years is actually quite enjoyable. Brings back memories. And this one's in pretty good shape. Back into a Tacoma. Haven't had one of these in nearly 18, 19 years. So this isn't going to be a used car buyer's guide in the absolute sense, but of course you want to take it for a good test drive and you want to see whether or not the car feels tight handling wise. Check engine light that comes on, any weird lights that light up the dash. You get an overall good feel when you take a used car. Whether or not it's been taken care of, it'll just give you a feeling. Generally, you will know. But these are some of the things that you look for in a Toyota Tacoma, the first generation, some of the things that have gone on. Of course, Toyota has a great reliability record, especially with the 3.4 V6. It's about a 300,000 mile engine as long as it's been maintained properly. If you're going to buy a used first gen Tacoma, these are some of the things that are typical of them. They go wrong or they wear items. Areas, of course, when you looking at some of these first gens is right here where the leaf springs attached to the frame. Usually that's rusted out, falling apart. This one still has the sticker from a few years back, but the suspension shot and they put new coilovers up front and these rear shocks on the back. Another thing to look for in some of these older Tacomas is we also have broken pins right here. It's connected by a roll pin, but obviously that plastic piece is broken off. So we have some billet aluminum that we have got to change out, and overall, you know, for a 15-year-old vehicle, it's in pretty good shape. Automatic 4x4 works. Another thing common on these is the lights burn out. I've got a bulb burnt out between the temperature controls, so I'm going to replace that. I have to pull the dash apart just a little bit. So yeah, just a few small things to replace on the new Project Shirley, the 2003 Toyota Tacoma. Of course, the big thing is the timing belt, whether or not that's been changed. Generally, if it's been done by a dealership, they'll have a sticker there. This one was done by a private shop, and usually they do the water pump at the same time. Another common problem is usually that cap is missing. And generally, just overall appearance of the engine bay will give you some clue as to whether or not it's been taken care of. Obvious leaks. Look at your valve cover gaskets, make sure they're not leaking, because that's one thing that goes. Throttle body, also too, if you wanted to take ear and take apart, check down in there to see whether or not it's all gummed up with anything. We'll give you a general idea of how it's been maintained. So always good things to keep in mind. And of course, the biggest thing is that frame. Visually inspect your frame. Generally, if the frame has been replaced, they'll have a sticker it'll still be affixed if the owner did not take it off. There'll be one up front near the passenger side, and also there will be another one right below the passenger. This particular truck has a new bed, and the Toyota bed liner is plastic. It's known for holding moisture, so that's probably something that's not good for the overall integrity of the truck bed. Of course, they changed to plastic in the next gen, but I plan on taking this out and also putting a liner in it. Seat wear is a big deal in these things, and most often this is like $130 piece. You can get them for about $100 on eBay, but they're broken, they're plastic. Getting in and out of them breaks them pretty easily. Another thing to look at is your door latch mechanism. Now usually these are, when they're worn, the door will not stay open on its own. So this vehicle, both the driver and the passenger side, are worn, and it's kind of a hassle. It's kind of bothersome when you get in and out of your vehicle, and they are not staying open. Wind can blow them back onto your leg, which is going to feel great. You probably only do that twice.
See how it feels? That's it. Okay.
As far as the four-wheel drive engagement goes, this is known as a J shifter. It can be shifted into high 4 at 50 miles per hour or less according to the manual. Or there are also four-wheel drive buttons on some of them that can just be engaged by the push of a button. Take a look at your overall dash, whether or not it's been cared for. Are there a lot of cracks? Seems very popular for people to put accessories on here to glue things such as your cell phone mounts, GPS mounts, that sort of thing. Aftermarket stereo. The factory stereos were not very reliable and they did not sound very good, so most previous owners coupled that with the new deck. Definitely a good idea to get underneath, take a look at your drive shaft. Now this one is rusted, carrier bearing. Looks like it's probably as old as the drive shaft. That might be something that goes on them. And of course you want to take a look at your exhaust. Now this one does have a new O2 sensor. There's one up here. This is the rearward one, and then there's one up front as well. But obviously with these things having rusted frames, that being a major issue, your exhaust is also likely to rust and fail. Tacomas get the knock for their rear drum brakes, something they are still using in the current gen. They work, so I guess they keep them. But you might want to check that out. I'm going to put a rear brake kit in these just because. So a lot of things I mentioned are merely an indication of how picky of an owner you're going to be. You're going to check these things out, see whether or not they need replaced. Maybe you don't even want to replace them. Maybe you just want a reliable vehicle that you're just going to run into the ground. That's fine too. But if you want to find a good used one, hopefully these tips will help you find that vehicle that you're looking for.